Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. Thank you for joining us, everyone. I'm your host, Ben. Carissa will not be joining us today, but don't worry, she'll be back here soon. Everyone, hey, welcome into the program. And yeah, we have a great show planned for you where in the second part of the show, we will be doing computer and technology news, talking about all the latest articles and policy and new products and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, don't worry, lots to cover and always a fun time. So, but in the first part of the show, we have a guest. Yes. And today's guest is none other than iCleanse. And we'll introduce them in just a moment. But yeah, if you've ever been concerned about, and especially days like these, concerning, if you've ever been concerned about cleaning your phone, making sure that there's no bacteria on it, and, not many people are, feel comfortable dunking it in a giant jar of, disinfectant, then, hey, there's a better way. And I'm really looking forward to this because we have not talked about this type of disinfecting using ultraviolet light with technology. I know that it happens in much more sterile places than a home, such as hospitals, schools, and so on and so forth. But now we can bring this technology into your home. So I'm looking forward to talking about this. But before we do that, everyone, computeramerica.com. That's where you'll find everything, including past shows, future shows, show notes, articles, reviews, topics, all that and more. You can find that at Computer America. And hey, also the podcast. If you miss the live show, you can, of course, time shift it and take it wherever you go. Although, let's face it, we're not going many places lately. So no excuses. Check it out. Now, with that being said, everyone, let's go ahead and, of course, social media, all that good stuff. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and bring on our guest. And as I said before, it is a company called iCleanse. And hey, they make a product that, if you're really concerned about bacteria and, of course, COVID, coronavirus, and let's face it, the seasonal flu and cold, it's that time of year. It's going to start ramping up. Things are just only going to get messier. So let's talk about this. We have Christopher J. Allen Sr. He is, of course, the CEO of the company. And Chris, welcome on to Computer America. How you doing?
Hi, Ben. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. So, yeah, I think that maybe people have seen a lot of different ways that hospitals utilize this technology. And, we've seen it built into robots. We've seen the people with the hazmat suits waving the wand around and, disinfecting these surfaces as well. Yeah, this is something a little bit different, something that is more suitable for the home or, maybe an office or things like that. But before we start talking about the product itself, let's get an overview. Talk about iCleanse. When did you start this? And, because, hey, coronavirus has been around for 10 months, 10, 11 months now. Was this something you were working on before? And also, what is your background?
Yeah. So my background, I founded a company called iDevices back in 2009. is one of the first IoT companies in the space. And we did the first product I invented was the iGrill. It was a grilling thermometer that connected to your iPhone. Kind of told you when your food is ready on the grill or on the stove.
Yeah, funny story. I think I have that. I actually have that. So very cool.
You and millions of others.
Yeah.
That's great. Appreciate the business. So I started it with that company. That company eventually sold iGrill to Weber Stevens, the Weber Grill Company. And then in 2017 or in 2014, we had started in home automation. And in 2017, I sold the rest of the company to Hubble, a publicly traded company in Connecticut.
Very cool. So entrepreneurship is in your blood.
There you go. I had invested in this company. It was originally called ReadyDoc, and I had invested in them in 2017 as a venture capital deal. And I had been with Hubble for 3 years and decided that I wanted to try something new. And these guys were struggling a bit. Just didn't have the business acumen to kind of grow it to the level that we needed. And so myself and some investors came together and bought the company and rebranded it and redone some of the technology. But ReadyDoc and iCleanse within it has been around for over 10 years. So they've been doing it a long time. This isn't something that just kind of popped out to take advantage of the pandemic. And these products have been used in hospitals for a long time. So,
right. Yeah, it's not to take advantage of the current situation, but of course uniquely positioned to be helpful in times like these. So let's go ahead and of course talk about iCleanse. For anyone out there watching the video portion, you can see an image of it here, and we'll be watching videos and things like that. But for all the people listening, listening in their car or whatever, please describe the iCleanse device.
Yeah, so our iCleanse devices are primarily used in business environments, corporate, hospitals, nursing homes, things along those lines. It's a commercial product, has some great features in the fact that it's like a small microwave. If you consider it a shrunk down kind of squatty microwave is the best way I can describe it. It has a drawer that slides out. You slide that drawer out. There's a stainless steel basket within that drawer, and you place your phone, tablet, Microsoft Surface, iPad Pro, whatever it might be, on that, and slide the drawer back in. Press the touch screen to disinfect, and that will go ahead and start a 30-second disinfection that would kill things like MRSA, COVID, influenza, the basic ones. In hospitals, they use it to kill C. diff, which is a much harder one. So it takes about 2.5 minutes in those cases. But for the primary disinfection that we see people using today, where the big worry is around the pandemic, 30 seconds and it's disinfected.
So I actually skipped pretty much every chemistry, biology class in school. Talk about talk about UVC and how it actually disinfects, because sometimes you hear essential oils and stuff like that are hey, if you believe in that, that's good. But this has clearly been tested.
Let's go on science.
Yeah, let's go on science. So explain a little bit of the science behind it. Like how why is it so effective?
Yeah, I'll be Bill Nye the science guy for a minute here. Essentially what UVC light does is when it hits any surface, any bacteria that's there, it actually breaks down the DNA of that bacteria. So that bacteria is no longer able to replicate and thereby dies. Similar to chemicals, the issue with chemicals is that if you actually read the bottle or the wipes or whatever you're using, majority of them say you have to keep the surface wet anywhere from as little as 3 minutes up to 10 minutes before the disinfection, that 99.9% disinfection happens. With our product, whatever you put in there, keys, fobs, badges, phones, tablets, everything else, 30 seconds. The difference with UVC light too, just so people don't get confused, because I use the example of microwave, it only kills what it sees. So if you had like a laptop, right, and you put it in there closed, it's not going to kill anything on the keyboard. It can't like magically beam through the hard case and kill what's inside. So just being clear there. But That's really how UVC light works. It's not something you want to put on your body. So it has all the safety mechanisms. If you open it, it will go ahead and automatically shut off, and those types of things. And then the bulbs within there do wear out after about 4,000 uses. So it's a good duration of time, but we are keenly concerned with making sure the efficacy stays at a high level. So we warn you when that occurs as well.
It's and again, these are being used in a lot of different places, but that was the main concern I had always heard, was that it can only kill what it sees. It can only kill what it touches. And like in a hospital setting, they have to take special concern for, like, let's say the handrails, because they can bathe the whole hallway in UVC light, but it doesn't get behind the handrails and things like that. This kind of device, with the docking station and and everything that you have here, it will get all sides of a surface. I'm assuming, like, you don't have to, like, it's like, 30 seconds, flip your phone over, and you have to flip it.
No.
And that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, exactly. There's no flipping. It's not like pancakes. There's no flipping.
Good.
The entire inside of it is a chamber that's made of reflective material, so the UVC light bounces off and reflects around, and hits all four sides. In addition, I say phones and tablets, but in hospitals, it's interesting. And even in police departments and fire departments, we're seeing people use it for stethoscopes, CB radios for police, body cams, because those devices are not allowed to be cleaned with any type of chemical. It avoids the warranty. So this is a great opportunity to protect our frontline workers in a serious way. And while I say it within a hospital, I think it's also important to remember that all these people go home, and protecting their family at home is super important, as a
Right.
nurse, a doctor, whatever it may be. So when they leave, they're able to put their personal phone in there, their keys, their badge, after they stripped off everything else, and disinfect those devices, and bring them home knowing that they've been clean or disinfected, so that they're not bringing anything on those devices back home to their family.
So and let's say not in a hospital setting, again, just for general employees and things like that, maybe you have this set up, maybe in the break room or something like that people can come in and, disinfect their devices. A couple of things for continuous use. First of all, is it very loud? Is it, obnoxious, intrusive, that kind of thing? And also what kind of costs are associated with, other than like light bulbs? Are there, does it use a lot of electricity or things like that?
Yeah, so it's whisper quiet, doesn't make really any noise. You hear a slight little buzz when the lights turn on, and that's about it. A lot of people are putting them in break rooms. They're also putting them in the front lobbies, so people aren't allowed to enter the building before they clean their devices and their phones and badges. In addition, where employees enter, they're doing it there to limit the spread within the building. When it comes to serviceability, the bulbs, or the lamps, we call them, are the one service item. Outside of that, yeah, it does use electricity. It's the equivalent of probably a few ceiling lamps that you would have in an office. So it's
Makes
nothing
sense.
that's going to break your bank or anything like that.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm just trying to think of, some of the other costs that, maybe if someone wanted to install these, I'd be like, oh my God, but yeah, it's because you are literally just powering the lamps. Yeah. So it would be the cost of a couple of lamps. That makes sense. Yeah.
It's also,
yeah, go for it.
sorry, it's also just a good opportunity to be green, right? I'm not dismissing the need for everything that we're doing in the pandemic, but this pandemic has created a ton of trash when it comes to PPE,
Yeah.
and all the various wipes that we're using and the chemicals that we're putting into the environment. This is a chemical-free solution, so you're not putting anything caustic on your phone. I think really people need to think more about, and I think they will going forward, unfortunately, because of this, but your phone is probably the dirtiest place on your body, thing on your body, right? It can hold COVID for up to 29 days, according to a new study out of UK, on your phone. And you're going to take that phone and you're going to smack it on your face and put it next to your ear, your eye, your nose, your mouth. And it's just a high transmission point. And then if you have kids or whatever, they're grabbing it. As we've issued all these new iPads and computers because kids are learning remotely, it's just another opportunity for infection to spread more and more. So our relevancy goes far beyond just the pandemic. I think it's going to be here for the duration.
I'm very upset that you brought up those statistics because I just had to Google it. And published 2 years ago, your phone is 10 times dirtier than a toilet seat. So,
Yes. So don't lick your phone.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, but it's you're right. People put those things right up against their face, and it goes in their pocket. Everything that their hand comes in contact with, it will of course do that. And then I think that even goes for like people who are safe and think, oh, I'll just use the earpiece. Earpieces and Bluetooth headsets and things like that, same exact thing. So.
Yep.
And just real quick, talking again about the UVC, just want to make sure it's obviously it's been tried in settings that are much more durable than I think sometimes basic consumer electronics. This doesn't wear out plastic, like it won't dry it out, crack it, or degrade plastic in any meaningful way.
Not at the doses that we're doing. I mean, it could over a period of 4 or 5 years, something along those lines.
Okay.
It'd be like leaving your phone in the sun for 5 years and not expecting something to happen, right? We leave it out there for 10 minutes in the hot sun and it says overheating. So this won't overheat your phone, but
Right.
It's not meant to degrade plastics or yellow them or anything like that.
Again, did not take chemistry. I just want to make sure it wasn't going to break down the polymers with. Yeah,
I'm a college dropout, so no worries. I didn't do well either.
Gotcha. So yeah, and obviously when we watched the video, there was like a 60-second timer and a 30-second timer or something like that. Not everyone is battling the extreme diseases within hospitals, but for your devices, I guess just one go with 30 seconds or one go with 60 seconds will do you?
Yeah, that's really all that's required. And the way we like to position it is, when you wash your hands, you should be disinfecting your phone, right? So it's great to wash your hands. I strongly encourage it. I think it's, a tried and true way. However, if you put your phone down to wash your hands and then pick your phone back up, as we just mentioned, your disinfection of your hands or the cleaning of your hands is slim to none, right? Because you just put everything that was on your phone back on your hands. So making sure that you're disinfecting your phone in some way, shape, or form is going to be super important in protecting yourself and your family, your employees, your customers.
So and obviously there's the Swift XL and the Swift 5X. So talk about the need for the 5X. I'm assuming customers were asking for this.
Yeah, so basically, and I'll give you the first little preview. We have 2 new products that we're announcing this week too. So we'll have a Swift and a Swift
Very
Mini.
cool.
But the product family has been adjusted to fit the needs of various customers, right? In the hospital setting, they like to lock and store their product in the device overnight and charge it. And that really allows them to do that. The Swift XL is like quick and fast and in, out, and done. Once it's done, they can throw in, and it also allows for larger products in there, right? Larger format, Surface, Pro, iPad Pro, any type of tablet. And then our Swift is slightly smaller because the Swift XL is a big unit. The Swift is about 2/3 the size, virtually the exact same product. And then our Swift Mini is the smallest of the group, but it's taller. It allows for something that's up to 4¼ inches tall to be used within it. So CB radios are great there. People are using them in hair salons, jewelry stores, all these various things where, they're trying to get back to business, but they understand that there's a concern with the customer base, that there's a need for protection, sanitization, disinfection before they go ahead and touch any type of product.
And for the new products that you're launching, the minis, are those intended to be more of a home line? Because again, this has been more of a business oriented product. What are those aimed at?
Yeah, no, those are just different situations within businesses. Our primary product line is for the business owner, everything from the lawyer's office to the accountant. We will have a more consumer facing product that will come in for Q1 of next year, and that will be a pretty cool product. We're super excited about. I'm happy to come back and we can do round 2 and walk everybody through that product.
Absolutely, yeah, and of course, it's a very useful product, but I guess what would you say is the reason why this hasn't been adopted in more places? Do you think it's because we haven't had a global pandemic and, hospitals have to be super safe because they treat, the immunocompromised way more often than we do in our daily lives? Do you think it took a pandemic for people to really, maybe kind of be aware of this, or have people always been using these kinds of things and I just never noticed? What do you think is, up with the adoption rate?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the pandemic has definitely raised people's awareness about what's going on and how dirty their phones and devices are. However, hospitals have known this for years, and based on that, they've obviously adopted it. But I think it has come more mainstream when you think about how we use these devices on a daily basis in a restaurant. As the menu or the wine list, in retail, passing it around. You go to a warehouse and there's a bazillion like scanner guns and tablets that are going around, and your delivery guy's asking you to sign. So there's just all these different instances where now you take a momentary pause and you go, "Ooh, do I really want to touch that in this day and age of COVID, influenza, everything else going on? Do I want to grab that pen? Do I, and you have to really." And some people I think are still hesitant to voice it. Some people obviously are big opinions, but they like, "Ooh, do I want to just do it because everybody else is?" But it is an opportunity for you to get sick, and look, people are dying. That's the reality of the situation. We've lost almost 250,000 Americans to this awful pandemic, and protecting yourself in every way, shape, and form should be a perfectly fine measure to take.
Yeah, I know I've said this just a couple of times in these months, but I did get coronavirus way back in February, and it's not fun. It's not fun at all. So
No, I bet.
yeah. Definitely protect yourselves, and something like this is going to be extremely useful, especially because, like I said, this also I'm sure kills flu and cold. Pretty
Yes.
basic and common things that I'm hoping the lessons of this year carry over into the following years, because hey, the flu's not going anywhere. So
Yeah, and I don't think COVID is either, right? We're going to have a vaccine. I have no doubt about that. We've seen the great results from Pfizer and everybody else.
yeah,
However, you'll still have people getting it. You'll have outbreaks. You'll have people that don't get the vaccine and things like that. So I think it's just going to be part of our life, and how we go about protecting ourselves is going to be a key component of that as we go forward. We don't have to live in bubbles, but you just
right.
want to be cognizant of what you're doing, what you're touching.
Right. Yep, and of course, so there's also a question here talking about larger venues. I can't imagine, like in my head when you say large venues, I think maybe like baseball, some kind of arena stadium kind of thing, and maybe some kind of like scanner like they have with. At the airports for luggage, and that would emit the light instead. So you just kind of put your stuff on the conveyor belt. It would take it through this process, and you wait at the other end for your device. I can't imagine, these being very good for, let's say, 1,000 people that are trying to get in a venue at one time. Do you have any plans for something for larger venues or anything like that?
Yeah, we definitely are. We're in the works, and that'll be part of what we launch in Q1. The ability to get people back to their normalcy is our goal, right? While protecting them at the same time, and that's really what we're trying to do with these initial products, or the extension of the initial products. It's for the business owners, those retail shops, those restaurateurs who have been hit really hard during this time. As we get back into venues like football, baseball, and what have you, and larger crowds, we'll have a solution there. And whether or not it's made mandatory going forward or not, that's TBD. But I think there'll be opportunities to, those that want to protect themselves can do it, and those that don't. I mean, that's their call. It is a free country, and it's your prerogative. Although we hope that nobody has any malice towards anybody else. Everybody wants to take care of everybody in the country, right?
Right. Yeah. That's a whole conversation. It's a whole different thing. But yeah, so I just want to talk about the company in general, because obviously you mentioned that you guys took it over, tried to help them out and grow the business, because this is clearly a lot of thought and a lot of engineering went into this product, and being able to provide the business background to get it into more hands, that's definitely a good thing. Talk about providing jobs, and obviously with the large sectors of the economy shutting down, I'm guessing you're adding to, you're adding jobs?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, we're hiring about 150 folks across the country. Our product is manufactured in the U.S. too, which is a great thing to tout, and I'm proud of that fact. It's made in New Hampshire. We're adding in our corporate offices as well, although it's a small team there. Our diverse sales force across the country. Even our manufacturer, they've hired up to 30 new people already. So I think it's in this day and age, you have to be cognizant about what you're buying and who you're buying it from. I think let's be honest, let's do what you can to help those people that have been hurt here and help those that are helping others, right? We're a big, made here, want to help the community, help the local folks, help the local businesses, and we're trying to continue to do that. I did that at iDevices. And while our products weren't manufactured here in the States, I adopted kind of the Apple model where we had all of our engineering done in-house, all of our customer service, everything was in-house. And we had a huge team, not huge, but, just under 100 folks. And I provided great incomes and salaries to those folks and created great jobs from the 2-person company that it started out as to 100 when I sold it. So.
Very cool. Yeah, no, that's definitely a great success story. And by the way, I was just looking over the press release, and just real quick, you also mentioned partnering with Surfacide, which is Surfacide is not something we really mentioned yet in our interview. Could you real quick outline what Surfacide is?
Yeah, so Surfacide is a really cool product that it couples nicely in the hospital markets for us. So Surfacide does UVC disinfection for the entire hospital room. They have these really cool robots that kind of roll into the room on their own.
Yeah.
It launches its UVC light and disinfects the entire room for you using that light. It's been a technology that has been super popular, obviously, lately, but has great applicability in not just hospitals, but colleges, universities. You're seeing it in prisons because there's a lot of problems in prisons and the outbreaks because of the close proximity, and then also in gaming and
Casinos. Yeah, that's a
also,
big one.
yeah, yeah. I mean, those guys have been hit hard. I mean, those are high touch surfaces and big opportunities for spreading of COVID and influenza.
Yeah, it's and so obviously you are really trying to bring this to more people's attention with with UVC, and that there are steps and solutions to the problems that we're having. We just have to find a way to implement them in the most effective way that we can. So you got your work cut out for you.
I do, but it's a fun task, and we're super excited about it. We've had great adoption. The press has been very good to us lately, and with Surfacide now as our primary partner for when it comes to hospital market, they're a great partner going into that. And then the other thing too that I would just emphasize with everybody as they're looking at various products like this, make sure that they're using independent third-party testing and not just making random claims. That's super important. We do all of our testing in a third-party independent lab. Tells us what we kill, how fast we kill it. There's a set process, and we test every single one of the units that we developed rigorously for both, the duration of time that the lamps are good, as well as what it kills.
I'm not sure if this would be governed by the FDA. For
It is
these
not
kinds of
yet.
claims. Okay. Is
Yeah.
fraud in this sector something to be concerned about? Because I guess making a purplish kind of light isn't too hard to do. Is fraud something that kind of happens in your field?
It definitely has. I mean, we've seen a proliferation of stuff coming out of Asia that's, like 2 little LEDs on the side of a little box and it's more consumer based. So that, where you have your consumer listeners that are looking at these things on various online websites that, are selling them. You really want to see the testing, and the testing is super important. All of our stuff is patented, and has been for years. And, well, I can give you the warm and fuzzies. If it's
Yeah.
actually not doing anything, then it's nothing. You haven't protected yourself.
Yeah, the amount of bad faith technology we've seen coming out of from, as you said, the Asian countries, that thermometers that don't really tell thermometers, they just display the same number over and over again and things like that. yeah, definitely do your homework. Trusted provider, trusted manufacturer. And I got to say that, your product looks amazing, and everything that you said today made a lot of sense. And I want to thank you so much for coming on the show and explaining this to our audience.
I appreciate you having me, Ben. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, fun. And real quick before we say goodbye, is there anything that we didn't cover? And also, where's the best place if people want to find out more information?
Yeah, definitely. So you can go on our blog. It's a great resource if you have questions about UVC light, how it works, what types of situations you can use it in. That's a great resource for you. It's free. Just go on and check it out. We also have some white papers on there. Our website is iCleanse.com. Super easy. You can check us out there. You can check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And stay tuned. We'll have some cool new products coming in the next few months.
We'll definitely keep an eye out. And yeah, hey, and when they're out, send us a message and we'll get back on the show. This is very important information. So, and again, everyone will have a link to all this over at computeramerica.com, right there underneath today's show notes. We'll have a link to it right there. So, everyone, once again, Chris, CEO of iCleanse. And Chris, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks again, Ben. Take care.
All right, our pleasure. All right, and now we're going to be very rude and kick you out of the call as we do computer and technology news. But everyone, Chris, again, thank you so much. And everyone, let's go ahead and continue. So thank you so much. All right, so, okay. And with that being said, everyone, computer and technology news brought to you by Computer America. Let's go ahead and get this started. All right, everyone. So, computer and technology news brought to you by Computer America. And I think for today, a good place to start. I know that Apple just recently had their big event, and yeah, we're going to save that for Sandy Berger. But so if you want to check that out, you can check out Sandy Berger's segment. Let's go ahead and instead talk about Parler. Why not? We discussed Parler a couple days ago, and it's one of those products that, or one of the services that promises to be a bastion of free speech. That's kind of their thing. We talked about it because it was the number one most downloaded app in the market. So yeah, across Android, Apple, as soon as Joe Biden won and President Trump lost, they were afraid that traditional social media was going to start banning conservative viewpoints left and right. Much to the contrary of what's actually happening. But let's go ahead and talk about a couple of these things. And this one just because it seems to be the biggest story of the day. So far, as these things often go, Parler is already starting to ban users. So let's see what's up. This is coming to us from Newsweek, and yeah, saying that Parler, the social media platform that boasts to be a haven for free speech, has apparently started to ban accounts and remove content. Over the past few days, several Twitter users have tweeted that they've been kicked off of Parler. Judging from the posts announcing that they've been booted, at least some of the banned Parler users seem to have signed up for a service precisely to test the limits of the so-called freedom of speech policy. So, again, Parler was boasting 100% freedom of speech, but everything has its limits. It's like signing up for those services that promise you unlimited storage, and then people are like, oh, I'm going to back up literally hundreds of terabytes of data to my unlimited storage box. Yeah, technically they said unlimited, but what they meant was within normal parameters and within people's use cases. And the people with hundreds of terabytes will go, well, you said unlimited, and now you're taking that away from me. And they scream and they fight. But I have to think that deep down, even they admit that when you are using the bandwidth of thousands of other ordinary users, maybe chopping off the top 0.0001% is kind of acceptable. And I feel like this is what they're doing here with, again, these people who are intentionally looking to looking to test the limits of what they mean by freedom of speech, saying that pretty much all of my leftist friends joined Parler to mess with people, and every one of them was banned in less than 24 hours because conservatives truly love free speech. That was one user. That's what one user said. Another one said that they got banned for 24 hours, and yeah, again, more and more people banned from Parler. Launched in 2018, Parler presents itself as an unbiased social media platform and is generally understood to be a conservative alternative to Twitter. Conservatives have been flocking to the social media program, especially after President Trump had tweets about mail-in ballots flagged and fact-checked that were potentially misleading. Again, conservative viewpoints that Twitter is going to start censoring their talking points. So, Parler CEO John Matz hasn't been shy about promoting Parler's supposed lack of censorship. On June 25th interview with CNBC, the CEO said that the app is a community town square, an open town square, no censorship. And if you can say it on the street in New York, you can say it on Parler. There you go. He said that Matt's also told CNBC that he's hoping to have some liberal voices in the app. He's offering $20,000 reward to any openly liberal pundit with 50,000 Twitter or Facebook followers to join Parler. So, yeah, not a lot of people taking him up on that offer. So, although they've been billed as free speech, the user agreement says otherwise. Parler may remove any content and terminate your access to the service anytime for any reason or no reason, although Parler endeavors to allow all free speech that is lawful and does not infringe on legal rights of others. So, yeah, again, it's, I think people who go there, and don't get me wrong, bill yourself as free speech all you want. You know, the entire concept of Parler, we've talked about that on Monday's show, and it's a whole thing. But when you have users who are on your platform only to derail conversation, to intrude on others, to shut down any kind of healthy conversation that there is to be had, yeah, those users are agitators and probably should be banned for harassment. It is just not appropriate. And I know that Parler says they want to be completely free, no bans, all that kind of thing, but man, you have to have some kind of moderation at some point. So, Parler has also a list of guidelines that users must abide by. There's no spam, no defamation, no blackmailing, and no posts supporting terrorist organizations, no fighting words or threatening to harm others, no posts promoting marijuana since it's considered federally legal, and since it's not considered federally legal, and no obscenity, indecency, or pornography. So, they have rules. They try to be as light touch as they possibly can, but hey, if you go in there acting stupid, they will get you. Parler has a lot of issues. I don't think this is one of them. Again, it seems like the people that were banned were people who were openly going there to agitate and stir the pot. So, yeah, Parler. I still have a hard time thinking it's going to catch on. Without some level of moderation, you aren't going to get that mass appeal. And I mean, just unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be too much of a demand for an alternative platform to Twitter and Facebook. Just isn't. So, okay, so that was that first story. Second story, let's go ahead and talk about Honda. They did something very cool today, and hey, kudos where kudos are deserved. Honda says that they will be the first to mass produce a level 3 autonomous car. And for those of you who don't know, level 0 is a Model T. It has nothing. It is literally as basic can be. It's all mechanical, so on and so forth. Level 1 has very, very few safety features. Might have like blind spot detection and things like that. Level 2 has even more. It will have things like auto braking and, things that actually take more than just a sensor, but actual, kind of programming and intelligence. Level 3, it will allow vehicles to navigate congested expressway traffic. So that means that it can do more than just kind of auto braking. It can also do steering and so on and so forth. But, on city streets, smaller streets, you're still going to have to take over. Level 4 autonomous vehicles are the dream. They're the dream that you never touch the wheel. They're the dream that you can fall asleep at the wheel and it's okay because your car is going to take care of you. We're not there yet. We're still firmly at level 2 automation where, kind of backup cameras, blind spot sensors, auto braking, kind of lane assist, that is still level 2. But we may be getting a step closer. On Wednesday, they said that they will be the first automaker to mass produce sensor-packed level 3 autonomous cars that will allow vehicles to navigate congested highways. They're planning to launch sales of a Honda Legend. It's a luxury sedan equipped with the newly approved automated driving equipment. The race to build self-driving cars is a key technology battleground for automakers, and of course Google and Alphabet, by extension Alphabet, are also investing billions of dollars into the field to boost car sales. Japan's government earlier in the day awarded a safety certification to Honda's autonomous traffic jam pilot driving technology, which legally allow drivers to take their eyes off the road. Self-driving cars are expected to play a big role in helping reduce traffic accidents, provide transportation for the elderly, and improve logistics. There you go. Saying that there are 6 levels of vehicle autonomy from 0 to 5. I described 0 to 4, I guess 0 to 5. 5 would be completely, fully self-driving vehicle. So, so level 2 cars currently on the road can control their own speed, but now, again, we are very close to level 3. And, of course, Tesla, always the optimist, saying that they are very close to level 5 full autonomy. So, and of course, when level 5 fully autonomous vehicles become a thing, when level 5 becomes a thing, the steering wheel will probably disappear from those cars because you should never take control of that vehicle. That's just the way things are. So, I'm looking forward to the day. I think driving is a chore, and I think a lot of you are very bad at it. But it's here for now. But it's getting better. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about. Our next story. And by the way, I know that we were just talking about Honda, but Hyundai, they are looking to buy Autonomous AI, which is also the maker behind Boston Dynamics. So, fun fact: Boston Dynamics and Hyundai may be a joint force, which is cool. Hey, people are getting more into robotics. That's definitely a good thing. Okay, so with that being said, again, we're leaving all the Apple stuff for Sandy Burger segment. We can talk about. I had a number of these picked out, but of course, with the show being the way it is, SpaceX just picked up a really cool certification, and I like this. NASA has officially certified SpaceX for operational space flights. It's the first NASA certified system for astronaut flights since the space shuttle. Very cool. NASA has officially approved the SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule and the Falcon 9 rocket for regular astronaut flights to and from the International Space Station. The agency has signed the human rating certification plan for SpaceX's Crew Transportation System, making it the first spacecraft to have done so in nearly 40 years. Very impressive. They said that this certification milestone is an incredible achievement for NASA and SpaceX that highlights the progress we can make working together with commercial industry. So now that the Crew Dragon and Falcon 9 system have been certified, NASA and SpaceX can start focusing on future flights that'll carry more astronauts to orbit. One of the associate administrators for NASA and the Human Exploration and Operation Mission Directorate said, certification moves us from the design and test phase into the crew rotation phase of our work. But we will not stop making sure every flight, including NASA's Space Crew 1 mission, will be approached with the same rigor we have always put into the best system. So what they're saying there is that even though it's approved and everything looks good to go, they're still going to cross their T's and dot their I's. Which, hey, NASA, you never expect anything less. So, yeah, NASA and SpaceX, match made in heaven. I'm sure that Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic are, really starting to want that same certification. So, okay. Let's go ahead and continue on here. How about we talk about so you know what? Why not? Roblox. If you haven't heard about it, you're too old. That's just the way of things. Roblox is hosting a Lil Nas X concert this Saturday, saying that the Old Town Road rapper will perform his new song Holiday for the first time at this event. That's right, concerts, a thing of the past. Now we have to look at, unfortunately, concerts are really not a thing right now, so they have to be virtual concerts. He'll be the first artist to perform within the hit kids game, and developer Roblox Corporation is going out of its way to make the occasion into something memorable. Saying that when he performs his new single Holiday, in addition to past hits like Old Town Road, players will have the chance to see and hear those tracks from multiple in-game stages inspired by the music. In addition to finding collectible tokens in those spaces and minigames they can play with their friends, they have a chance to buy concert merch with the in-game currency. Moreover, the stage will showcase the latest rendering technology the studio has baked into the game. Ahead of the main event, there will be a Q&A session with Lil Nas X and players to check out. So, very much on the heels of what Fortnite did, but hey, if it worked for Fortnite, there's no reason that Roblox can't do the exact same thing. Epic Game did that with Travis Scott, and again, that drew a crowd of about 12.3 million viewers. Roblox, I'm sure they will hit near those same numbers. They're a very popular game, so I have no doubt whatsoever that they can do that. Okay, so there's that one. Let's go ahead and talk about... Okay, let's go ahead and talk about... Nope, that is not what we want to talk about. That is music. That is on the wrong automation. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and continue on here. Apple. Okay, we're going to move on from Apple. Again, check out Saint Burger. That's our new thing. How about Ubuntu fixes bugs that standard users could use to become roots. And from my understanding of Linux, that means that, according to this, someone could get admin privileges and do anything and everything that a trusted user could do. And hey, it's not very often that we hear about vulnerabilities within open source software, but they do happen. And when they do happen, they get fixed very quickly because the community is able to go in and patch it themselves, or at least pool their resources and find a solution astonishingly quickly. So they said that this blog post is about an astonishing straightforward way to escalate privileges in Ubuntu. This is what a researcher at GitHub wrote, saying that with a few simple commands in the terminal and a few mouse clicks, a standard user can create an administrator account for themselves. And they even have video here. We'll go ahead and play this in the background. And yeah. So they said that the first series of commands triggered a denial of service bug in the daemon called account service, which is its name suggests is used to manage user accounts in the computer. He created a symlink that links a file name PAM environment to dev0, changed the region language setting, and sent account service a SIG stop. With the help of a few extra commands, he was able to set a timer that gave him just enough time to log out of the account before account services crashed. When done correctly, Ubuntu could restart and open a window that would allow the user to create a new account that had root privileges. Yeah, and they even have a video of him doing it in real time. And again, there he is changing the language setting, even something as simple as going from English America to English the UK. Yeah, it's he's running those commands. He said that Ubuntu uses a modified version of account service that contains code that does not include that's not included in the upstream version. Extra code looks for PAM environment file in the home directory, and by making the file a symlink, they get stuck in an infinite loop. The second bug involved in the hack resided in the GNOME Display Manager, which, among other things, manages user, sessions, and the login screen. The Display Manager, which is often abbreviated to GDM3, also triggers the initial setup of the OS when it detects no users are currently existing. So he says, how does GDM3 check how many users there are on the system? You probably guessed it, by asking accounts daemon. So what happens if accounts daemon is unresponsive? The relevant code is here. So the vulnerabilities could be triggered only when someone had physical access to and a valid account on a vulnerable machine. It worked only on desktop versions of Ubuntu. Maintainers of the open source patched the bugs last week. Brickhouse, who said he found the vulnerabilities by accident, has many more technical details in the link above. So yeah, there he goes. He was able to do it. Sounds like he was able to, like, the checks and balances that were put in place to make sure that didn't happen, he was able to put those in an infinite loop, which would break ordinarily, but it gave him just enough time to create an account that, because the thing that said that there was an account was stuck in the infinite loop. So therefore, they said that there were no accounts and you need to set one. And because there were no accounts, there was no already existing admin account. And then, of course, you could make an admin account. It's a very elegant solution. I'm actually a huge fan of it. It's very, very fun. So good on him for finding those vulnerabilities. Again, they were already patched last week before he, published this series of articles. But yeah, it's not bad. Not bad at all. So let's go ahead and continue on here. Computer and technology news. If you're just joining us, we highly recommend you check out the show, the entire show, because hey, we had on iCleanse and they were very fun to interview, talking about how to cleanse your electronic devices, especially in a business setting. So let's go ahead and talk about, let's see. Okay. TikTok. Yeah, I know. You're all excited, but check this one out. TikTok says that the Trump administration has forgotten about trying to ban it and would like to know what's up. Saying that the deadline to sell U.S. assets expires in a week. And it kind of goes to show that this was clearly a vendetta against the company and not really any kind of well thought out policy being made. It was more executive order and, Justice Department inquiry, but no real confirmed anything. So they mentioned that the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, they have set a deadline of November 12th for TikTok to divest itself of any tangible or intangible assets or property, wherever located, used to enable support ByteDance's operation of the TikTok application in the United States. So again, that was pretty much sell or else. And of course, the or else is ban. Now, it's not clear what would actually happen if the deadline passed, and TikTok was granted a preliminary injunction against it late last month, saying that for a year, TikTok has actively engaged with the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States in good faith to address its national security concerns, even as we disagree with its assessment. In the nearly 2 months since the president gave his preliminary approval of our proposal, we have offered detailed solutions to finalize that agreement, but have received no substantive feedback on our extensive data policy and security framework. Facing continued new requests and no clarity on whether our proposed solutions would be accepted, we've requested the 30-day extension that is expressly permitted in the August 14th order. Today, with the November 12th deadline imminent with no extension on hand, we have no choice but to file a petition in court to defend our rights and those of the 1,500 other employees in the United States. Yeah, seems like they're kind of dropping the ball there. Obviously, there was a big election, and there's going to be a changing in administration here. But yeah, that one clearly has fallen off the table. So. Okay, let's go ahead and continue on here, and we have time for about one more story. Okay, let's. You know what? This is a good one to end on. Let's go ahead and do it. Bunny the dog, and I got to say, I'm not the biggest check everything out on the internet and everything, but. Check this one out. Bunny the dog. If you haven't seen it, it looks like a sheared down Old English sheepdog. And it has a number of pet buttons. And it's kind of like when you put a bell on the floor that your dog can, you can train your dog to ring bells to let you know that they went outside and things like that. Like very basic tricks. It's not too hard. But then you have situations, and let me see if this will probably not go through right. Let's see. Is it Vio 3? Let's change it to that, and let's see if this works. So hopefully this isn't too loud. Let's see.
More switches now? Okay.
Okay, so we can definitely hear it, but let's see. So we're going to replay that one, and this is Bunny the dog using buttons that have pre-recorded sounds on them, such as like see, go, walk, so on and so forth. All these different, kind of words, and then Bunny the dog is able to, of course, string them together. So let's try that again.
More switches now? Okay.
So again there, the dog was able to alert its owner that it wants scratches now. More scritches now. Things like that. And of course, people are fascinated by Bunny and her ability to talk, quote unquote. She has 5 million followers on TikTok, and each of the videos are in the hundreds of thousands. And there are lots of parody videos and things like that. Most of the memes are funny, but along with the demands, an artist and self-described non-expert in dog science fields hundreds of questions from humans every day, like, is the dog really talking? Bunny's journey started when the dog's owner saw a video from a speech language pathologist teaching her dog to use a board full of buttons with words pre-recorded on them. The board is an augmentative and alternative communication device. And and they mentioned that which is typically used by nonverbal people to communicate without speech. Divine trained Bunny from puppyhood and started setting her up on the system one button at a time. Bunny is now 15 months old, and her system has expanded to over 70 different buttons, which again, if you're watching the video portion, you can see right there on the floor, the dog is able to walk up and press each individual button. Each participant, and so after the video started picking up traction, director of the Comparative Cognition Lab in UC San Diego started discussing them with people in his department. They began planning a project to study Bunny and other dogs like her who are learning to use buttons. They hope to determine scientifically whether non-humans can really use something like language to communicate. There are now over 700 participants, including dogs, cats, and even horses. Then they say that the growing number is almost certainly due to Bunny's popularity drawing people in. I would say also due to coronavirus because, man, people are bored. And teaching your dog to literally talk, not just bark, but literally talk, seems like a good use of people's times. Now, with that being said, they're also looking at how much the animals seem to be exhibiting properties that are generally claimed to be uniquely human, including like temporal and spatial displacement, or, of course, and just real quick, there we go. Bring in the backgrounds. There we go. So, they say that, they say that when Bunny the dog asks, "Where, Dad?" does that mean that she has a sense of spatial displacement, as in she's aware of Dad and acknowledging that he is not present in the room with her? When another dog presses water outside, is that an observation about the rain, or is it a request? One of the most interesting recent induction to Bunny's board is the prompting of researchers has been the words that are with concepts of time, including morning, evening, yesterday, and tomorrow. There's not much known about how dogs might conceptualize time, and hey, if the dog can say, hey, that is that, there you go. Everyone, if you want to find out more, computeramerica.com, you can find links there to all articles, including Bunny and all of the TikTok fun to be had over there. Everyone, have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.